was a mess. I don't know what happened, but um stream crashed. Um took down my monitor, took down a lot of my machine. So that was fun. But we're back. Okay, let's come back. Okay. It looks like we're back. Maybe. Yeah, okay. Okay. We are back. Oh, weird. All right. That was very, very strange. That's cool. They just added the ability for me to hit Control Shift Enter. And I can run npm install. Very cool. So it's able to read through that and figure out um uh um what we want to do, just add the legacy peer deps because we're running a version of Angular that's not supported by NX yet. It works just fine, but we have to add legacy peer deps so that npm is just like, yeah, whatever. Um, your software says it needs this, this level of whatever. You're not providing it, but you just told me you don't care. So um, we'll get that going. While that's going, I want to talk about Jan Niklas has a new newsletter. And I'll be sharing this on Twitch and Twitter after the stream. But he started up this new newsletter, and he wanted me to share it with you guys, and I absolutely agree. Jan Niklas is a good friend of the stream. Very, very helpful in the community at large. Um, for the Sudoku, when we get over to using XState, we'll be using his version of XState. Um, he's been working on that for a while. Um, just very, very, um, very, very active, very amazing person. Um, and he asked if I would share with you guys, and I said 100% yes. So here's here's his podcast, or it's his newsletter, but he also, I think, has a podcast and other stuff going along with it. Um, please check it out. Please support him. He's doing some amazing stuff. I'll be sharing this on Twitter and on LinkedIn after the stream. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up on this one. Um, Back and check on our install. It looks like our install is good. So let's go ahead and let's check things out. So there's some ESLint stuff, some prettier stuff. RxJS 7.8.2. I don't even know what that update would be, but we'll grab it. Um, so we will let's grab all of this stuff. So we're gonna do this. Yep. So grab that one. We'll grab that one. That one should be fine. Right here, RxJS, TSJS, that. And we're not going to upgrade Tailwind. There's more involved in that upgrade than I want to do right now, but we'll grab the rest of those updates. What is this NCU? NCU is a really cool tool. And need to run the legacy peer depths. So NCU is a really cool tool. Let's see if I can find it for you guys. Node check. I was called Node. It's NPM. NPM check updates. And it doesn't work with just NPM. It checks, it works with a whole bunch of other stuff. Um, so let's go to the GitHub page. And here you go. NCU is a really amazing tool. It works with Yarn. It works with PNPM. It works with NPM. I've never used Bun, so I don't know if it works with Bun or whatever. But it gives you this ability to, you know, usually you'll run like NPM update or NPM. I can't even remember the command. I've been using NCU so long. But there are various commands that you can run that will show you, the updates that are available. PNPM's command is pretty nice. It's very similar to NCU. But with NCU, you can check, the various versions, and it gives you highlighting. So you can see a major version change gives you like a red, a minor version gives you a blue, and then, just like a patch upgrade is green. And then you can add extra flags to it. Um, but it's got this really nice ability to do, like, you can do the -u and it's going to update everything that it thinks it should update. But if you add the -i, which I just did, it allows you to go through and pick your packages, and then once you do, it's going to go through and finish everything for you. um, I love it. There's one thing I want to try on stream. um, this doctor. One day on stream I want to try this doctor. um, And basically, what Doctor does is it goes through and it runs NCU-U. Um, and if any of your tests break after running the upgrade, it rolls them back and then it starts doing a search to figure out. Well, this one says it does iteratively, so it doesn't do a binary search. But it will iteratively install the packages, and any ones that break, it will stop and give you a report on. Um, and Doctor install is the same, right? Where, um, um, oh no, this is the install script that you can use, and then you can set up Doctor. So I really want to use this on stream once and just run an upgrade and see what happens. But there's all sorts of amazing things that you can do with NCU. Like one of the things that I often do, thank you. They're running the Blender in the background. But one of the things you can do with NCU is you can run a filter, and maybe the best, yeah. So like this one right here. So this will filter only the updates that have NGRX or Angular in them, and I'm using a regex to do this. So I don't have any upgrades that need to do that, but actually I might, because um, there's another thing we can add to NCU. NCU, we can go format group, and I think we can do level next. I believe that's the, no, log level, no. Um, other concurrency deprecated. Third level filter. Filter on package version. No. Install interaction. There's a way that you can specify um, there's a way that you can specify that you want to look for like next or log level, no, merge. Oh, look, here we go. It does. It supports npm yarn, pnpm, deno, bun, and static registry. Um, I don't remember what the command is to do this, but we do need to do one last thing. Npx, nx, migrate. We want to make sure that we are on the latest version of Angular 19. So we want to migrate our CLI over to next and our core. What is the URL of my Angular website? Do I have that command in here? I think I've got. Are you kidding? I don't have that in there. Let me grab my Git site for you. Do I have it up here? I've done some stuff on WordPress. I haven't written on WordPress in a while. Angular. So here's my GitHub website. I should. Oh, you know what? It might not be just Git. It might be GitHub. Try that one. There we go. There we go. That's the command I was looking for. Um, that one, if you use the GitHub in chat, it will grab my GitHub website. You can see all the stuff. Today we are looking at. Oh, that's not the one. Today we're looking at this one. And usually I have this set up in Twitch, but um, I'm a little under the weather today, and so I got started a little bit late. That's why we're still doing these upgrades right now. So let's go ahead. So it grabbed that one, and now we're going to migrate core. And then the last one we need to do is schematics, and that should be good. Yeah, it's not picking up the next tag, and there's a way to tell NCU that you want to include like the next tag in your when it checks. I didn't do that, and I don't remember the command for it. Otherwise, that's what we would be doing. Um, yeah, we're grabbing the core, we're grabbing the CLI. There was a lot of exciting stuff going on this week. Um, some very, very cool stuff going on this week with Angular. And I just saw something on Twitch today that 19.16 of Angular allows you to create temporary variables in the 4 version of um, in the 4 command structure. Now, why is Steam notifying stuff? That shouldn't happen too much. Um, anyway, so um, doesn't look like anything changed. Did anything change? Take a look. Oh yeah, it did. It updated everything to RC instead of Next. So we're on a release candidate of Angular 19. So let's get the schematics in here too. And that should be everything. Um, did you lose me again? Are we down again? Oh, thanks. Seem to be okay. Okay, never mind. I was just concerned with the little worried face in the chat. I was like, oh no, not again. Um, and so yeah, we look good there. Okay. So now we can just run our npm install. Come on, there we go. Oh, I missed the legacy peer deps. Let's break out of this. Um, there we go. Things seem to be going a little bit slow on my machine. Back. Of course. Deciding to run a virus scan right now. That's probably not what we want to do. Let's shut down that. Okay. Unfortunately, I can't shut down the actual scan that's running. Yeah. What a mess. What a mess. Usually I've got my computer up and running and all this stuff's done before. But anyway, now we're good to go. So we upgraded Angular, we upgraded NX, and we upgraded our dependencies. Go ahead and stage all this and upgraded depths. Go ahead and push that. And watch me break something right. npx nx serve. We'll see how this runs. Oh. So color my puppy. She's almost 3 years old now. We got a sweet little dog who just sits with me. Um, and she was bored of sitting in my office, so my wife came and let her out. Yeah. All right. Well, at least it looks like it serves. So let's go ahead and grab this. And I believe, there we go. So here's where we were last time, um, where we're using the API to grab people, and then, we've got the ability to go through various people. Let's make this nicer to look at, right? Um, that's the first thing we want to do. Um, we should also potentially change the title and stuff, but if we take a look at our Excalidraw, that's Tailwind. That's not Excalidraw. Where do I have Excalidraw in here? I've got way too many tabs open. Here it is. So this is the basic look of the app, right? Um, we're gonna have a person displayed here, and very much like dating sites, we've got a left and a right where the reject and accept, and then over here you can accept up to 4 people, um, and we'll add some stuff to handle all of that. That's what we're going to build today, is this stuff. Um, we may wind up building more tomorrow, um, but we'll see. We'll see how far we get. Anyway, let's see. Just before the stream, I updated WebStorm. So let's go ahead and grab this project. And there we go. So right now, we have a whole bunch of services to support us, and those services are using different resources, right? So we've got a people resource, and we've got an RX per people resource right? People resource. So we've got a couple of different resources that we can use. Um, but when we look at our app components, um, right? All of our stuff is in our app component. We don't want that. Um, so let's clean a lot of this stuff up. We want to create a layout that houses our stuff, and then we can use that layout for our application. The first thing we should do, if we take a look at our component here, is this should be one component by itself. And this will be another component. Um, um, so between these, we will have multiple components, right? Um, so we need to figure out how we want to do that. I don't know about this architecture. Oh my gosh. Oh, why did you have to come today, brother? It's good to see you, man. Very good to see you. It's been a while. I've been away for a while, right? Um, dude, dude, thank you, man. Really appreciate it. Very, very kind of you. Um, and if you guys don't know Tipster's a good friend, very good friend. Um, and we used to be coworkers. I don't want to dox I don't want to dox Tipster without his permission. So Tipster's a great guy. If you guys know him, very amazing person. I'm sure most of you guys know him, especially. We'll leave it at that. Great guy. Um, thanks for showing up today, man. Anyway, let's pull a lot of this stuff out, and I'm still not convinced about this router outlet, but we'll leave it for now. Um, what we want to do instead is we want to create a new component. Um, so let's go ahead and we'll just add new directory. This will be our components directory. Um, and inside of our components directory, we're just going to use nx to generate a new component. And this component, isn't there supposed to be a name on this? Is this the name here? No, here's the name of the component. So here under components, let's just say that we want to create we'll just this will be our choice component. And I'm gonna start using the .ng. Oh, it's using component. Okay. We're gonna call this our Merc choice here. And so what it's calling path is actually that's good to know. So we can go Merc choice component, right? And so it's going to put this in our components, Merc choice component, right? We aren't going to export this component. Definitely standalone. Change detection always on push. Why won't you let me change that? There we go. Display block, of course. What's going on here? Yeah, export default. Nah. Inline style. I don't inline style, but I was inline template. I don't know why. And this is a personal choice of mine. Hey, I'm not being too kind, brother. Tipster's a good guy. Very good guy. And lots of respect. Lots of love for Tipster. Anyway, inline template, I always do. Inline style breaks my brain. I don't know why. Like seeing styles in my component breaks my brain. I've worked on projects where we've done inline template and inline styles. The reason that I recommend you guys do inline templates is you guys have probably worked on um, projects where like you open the template file and the template file is like 10 times bigger than the code file, right? Um, or worse, right? Like your templates just keep growing and growing and growing. By keeping your templates out of sight, out of mind, I think that people tend to think less about where components belong. Um, but if you open up a file and it's 5,000 lines long and 3,000 lines of that is template, you're like, oh, we've got to fix this, right? But usually you won't get to that point if you don't do, um, if you inline your templates. That's why I've started doing it. A lot of people have argued about separation of concerns and things like that. That's not why I do it. Um, you could still have separation of concerns with files and things like that, right? It doesn't matter. The main reason I do it is that I get uncomfortable when my files get to a certain length, and so it forces me to think about, okay, where could I extract components, or do components exist here, right? I think this is where I can put ng to follow the new last segment of the file path. What I would love for it to do is just do .ng. That must not be the one that I am thinking of. I do .ng.ts. Does this work? There we go. There we go. So there's a reason that I'm doing the .ng instead of the typical dot component. And you guys may have seen this with a comment that Chow started. I commented on that, the tooling is still built to generate dot component, dot directive dot pipe dot whatever, right? Um, there's a suggested change to the to the Angular style guide, that we stop doing dot component dot service dot whatever and instead adopt the dot ng. Um, I'm gonna try it out and see what I think about it, right? It does help a lot when there is a component here. Um, I'm not gonna lie. Um, like app.ng doesn't mean a whole lot to me, but I guess like services and service, right? There's some weird stuff going on here. Um, right? Like I'm already in the services, so the context is there, so that like my service, who knows? Um, there's potential for naming collision. That's just like my first feeling, but I want to use it before um, um, before I get too deep into it, right? Skip import, I don't care. Um, skip selector, skip tests, styles, CSS. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So I can take this off and down here, down here we can go with ng. And so now we should see, yeah, okay. So the type, if you specify the type command, maybe if you only inline templates and styles, it makes more sense without dot component. That's another interesting thought, Oleg. Very interesting thought. There's some reasoning behind this. There's like this can get into some pretty contentious like some pretty contentious discussions, right, around new authoring formats and things like that. And if some of the new authoring formats take off, then having a .ng extension makes sense. And it goes along the lines of what you're saying, where if you inline the template and you inline the styles, well, with some of the new authoring formats, they become more along the lines of like JSX or things like that. Um, where the template and the code are the same file. And so, right, like I don't want to go too far down because I know people feel very strongly, and I don't want to detract from what we're doing today. Um, but I think you're onto something, Ole. Um, uh, very, very, I think pretty insightful there. I don't want to mess with the view encapsulation. So it's going to create our component. Let's go ahead and generate it. Um, so there we go. Are we done yet? I don't even remember. Take a look at our components. There we go. So it looks like we're done. We'll go ahead and close this. Usually there's something here saying, hey, we're done. So we'll leave it for, we'll minimize it for the time being. I'm not ready to fully go inline because separate files sometimes are better. And 100%. And this is like the stuff that I'm sharing right now is very much my own personal opinion. It's how I work. In to your you know to your point, Ole. Um, it's very important that people work the way that works best for them. Um, right? Don't do something just because you read in a blog somewhere that somebody says it's better. Um, you know what I'm sharing is my personal opinion. It has nothing to do with that. Um, it's so rough in Visual Studio Code. Well, you know what, Michael, no, you're right. There are some very rough edges. And there was a project that Q and I were working on together. Um, that was it was using inline templates and inline CSS, and there were some places where the inline CSS could get difficult, um, because it doesn't. When you've got CSS files, a lot of your tooling understands, oh, this is a CSS file, right? So it can do styling and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, for inline is just not there, and that's a fair, and maybe I mean that's another big reason why I do this too. So let's go ahead and we'll open our file. So it's app dash merc dash choice. So that's what we're gonna add here. We're just gonna do app dash merc dash choice. Um, we're gonna auto close this tag. Um, but we need to import our merc choice component. Merc choice ng. Oh, see that? See that? I don't like that actually. Let's go fix this. Um, we're gonna call this our merc choice component. Um, because I don't like that import. So we're gonna call this our merc choice component, because sure, the file naming convention, and I may have just, you know what, we're gonna stop the ng convention for now. I'm not convinced. So let's go ahead, and this is going to be our component. This is also going to be our component. And this is also going to be our component. And this is one of the nice things about like standalone, is that's the only change I have to make this work, right? Like my app component I need to fix. Maybe it picked it up already. Yeah, it did. Okay. So my tooling picked it up. So there we go. My JSON pipe isn't being used anymore. So let's go ahead and remove that. Um, oh, you know what? I don't have the prettier stuff that cleans this stuff up. So I'm not going to add it because I don't want to complicate the project and I don't want to get into setting that stuff up. Um, yeah, it has gotten better. Um, yeah, I mean, it, it's not like on par with using CSS quite yet, but I think it's getting better. So let's take a look at our application now that we've added this in. Um, so it's kind of ugly, but our merc choice works, right? Let's make this a card so that we can. Do we want to make it a card? This is already a card. Cards on top of cards don't look good. Um, Instead, let's go into our merc choice components. You know, we're gonna inline everything here. You know, we're talking about it. Let's go ahead and inline it, right? So here's our styles. Um, and the one style we had right off the bat was our host. We want this to display as a block, right? And then the other thing we can do is we can add some host listener stuff to it, right? So host, um, and on our host, we're going to add some classes to it. Um, so our class, we don't want card, but what we do want is border. Yeah, let's see what a primary border. Um, so there we go. So there's our primary border. Um, that's got a padding of 4 on it. Inspect. The Merc choice itself is pretty big. Oh, we've got margins on our, that's why. And that's fine. Um, so our primary border is that we could round the corners. I don't know. We'll take a look at that. Well, how do you guys feel? Um, I had to give it a shot again. I've been using WebStorm the last 6 months. Yeah. I don't like the inline styles declaration. I don't think that would scale well, is my thinking. So Dota 2, the reason we're doing inline styles here is because we're using Tailwind, right? Um, so this inline styles declaration works just fine because here's the crazy thing, right? Like I can add these classes, but I can also override them. You'd rather declare the styles in a CSS file. Oh, you're talking here, right? Um, yeah, I like this tends to break my brain. Um, but um, I'm with you. I'm with you, right? A CSS file definitely works. The host classes that we're adding, right? Um, it used to be that you would do this with the at host decorator and you would add the classes that way. Um, that's changed in the latest style guides to use um, the host stuff this way. The thing is, right, we can go ahead and in our app component, we can say, hey, class, and here we can say border dash secondary. And we can say border um, dash radius. I think we can do that. No, that's border right. Um, radius. I always forget. Like it's been a while since I've worked with Tailwind, so I need to go take a look at the border radius. Um, oh, it's rounded, rounded. So we'll do a rounded dash MD right on our stuff. Um, so rounded dash MD, right? Well, let's let's go even crazier. We'll just round the top, right? Um, and so now if we go take a look, oops, that's TypeScript. That was not the one we wanted. You can see, oh, it didn't grab my border secondary. Interesting. So it does have, oh, it did override that. So the border primary is being overridden by border secondary. But S, do I have this? Why are my colors not coming through? So S is that, they should be different colors here. Do I have this off? On? No, it's just interesting. If I go take a look at this, um, it should be using this dash dash S color. Alpha dash value. Oh, look at this. This is the problem right here. Um, this alpha dash value is wrong. Yeah, I've had this problem before. Had this problem before with because if I turn this off, we go back to this weird gray color, but my alpha value is off. Like if I set this to a 1 again, um yeah, so my primary colors are messed up. Which means that my preprocessor is messed up, right? Because like here, if we inspect this, yeah, we're getting weird alpha values. Um, yeah, you see, our colors should be different. I don't want to dig into this too much right now. I want to work on the no, the border width is there. The border width is part of um so if we look, the border width is part of just the dot border. When I add the border, it adds a 1 pixel border. Um, but it's this alpha value. Um, EW empty is not set. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. There's a whole bunch of stuff here that um well, it's just the fallback stuff that's not set. Like all of this stuff is set. Um, we'll worry about it here in a little bit. For right now, everything works. Let's get this set up, right? Um, so the design I want for this component is at the very top. Um, you know what? We don't even need these inline styles because we want this to be a grid. Um, so we can add the grid here, and then we can take out these styles. Um, and that's going to give us our grid. At the very, very top, we're going to add H2 for now. And here, this is going to be, and this is where we need to import some stuff from here, let's see, we want our Merc service here. What were we using the Swappy service for? I don't know what that was being used for. But we want these two. These are our mercs. So we're gonna grab these. And actually let's just grab most of this, right? Person resource. Oh, that's where we're getting it. So we want the person here. We actually want all of this. We want this and we want this. We're going to move all of this out of our app component. We're going to move it into our Merc choice, right? So we need to, did it grab all of that stuff? It did. There we go. All right. So we need a couple of things to display, right? First thing we're going to do is we're just going to really do something silly in the first place, but we're going to say if person resource dot loading, we're just going to display a div that says loading. Yep, that works. And here, there we go. Does person resource not have a loading on it? Dot is loading now. Otherwise, we're just going to go with else this. We need an at on our else, otherwise it doesn't work. So there we go. And we can move this stuff into here. So there we go. This is our person resource. Here, we can just say, hey, this is our person resource dot value dot name. That doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is that the person resource so that's fine. We can solve this with simple computed. So we can just say, hey, protected. We can call this our current Merc equals, and we're going to go with computed here. And we are going to say, well, we need to grab some stuff here, right? So const value equals this dot person resource dot value. So if we don't have a value, so we can say if not value, um, we're going to return, and we're going to call this empty person. Um, so we need to create this empty person, right? Um, and the best place to do it is here in the nope, it's not. It's in the person model. Um, so what we can do is we can just we can export empty person of type person. Um, and one thing we want to do is we're gonna fix this. This is going to be empty person. Um, empty person, and it's going to return a person. Um, and the reason we're going to do it this way with a factory instead of exporting an object is um, we these are all strings, right? Um, oh, I can't do this with a function. Um, I can do it with a const. Um, so the reason we're going to do it this way um, is I tend to prefer factories over objects because objects can be accidentally mutated, right? Hey, Marcus, welcome to the stream. Oh, aromatic convergence. Welcome to your timeout. Oh, you're also a possible ban evader. Oh, guess what? Goodbye. Um. Anyway. Um. Oh my gosh, did I just do that? We want just an empty string for these ones. And these are all going to be commas. And here, there we go. So name is unknown Merc. Height is um, about tree fitty. And if you guys, I was watching some people reacting to South Park last night, and the episode with uh with the Loch Ness monster was hilarious. Um, so that's where my about tree fitty is coming from, and um, it's hilarious that Copilot has experienced this enough that it picked it up. Um, so hair color, hot pink for sure. Skin color, um, absolutely. You need topaz. Topaz and hot pink are going to be awesome. And this will be celestial green for whatever reason. birth year, we'll just call it 0 BBY. Uh, Gender, fluid, homeworld, unknown. Um, and there we go. So this is what we need for our Merc. Um, so if we don't have something, we're just going to use an empty person. And so right here, we can just return our empty person. So there we go. There are a couple of reasons I got distracted on the Treefidian stuff, right? And with the and banning something. There are a couple of reasons I like to use factories over other just like over an object. One is the potential for something to migrate, like not migrate, but mutate my object. I don't want that. So when I ask for an empty person, I want an empty person, right? Um, the other reason that I do it is that, we could add in a name that's a string, right? Um, and then we could go name is name or unknown mark, right? Um, right. So why would I care about this? Well, stuff like this really helps when you start getting into unit testing. Um, if you have something like an empty whatever, and then you provide the ability to pass parameters in, then you can use that same function when you write your tests, and your tests can then override data to set up, the person however you want it. Um, and yeah, hey, um, but anyway, that's the reason. Like, there are a couple of reasons I do this. I find that it really helps in the long term. I also find that putting these with the person is a good place to put them. Um, I really debated even going as far as turning all of this into like a Zod implementation, but I don't want to get into Zod and take away from the workshop, right? But I would definitely be doing Zod if I had to. Um, so the next thing we want to do is we want to say, like, if array.isArray value, we're just going to grab the first value out of it. Otherwise, we're just going to return the value, right? Um, And so if we don't, like, we need to handle every possible value that comes back on value, right? If it's undefined, we need to handle it. If it's an array of people, we need to handle it. And if it's a person, we need to handle it. Um, there are things we could do to the resource to make sure that it's always a person. And maybe this is the better place to do that. Um, oh man. Hey, Gagui. We're just writing some code. Welcome to the stream, man. Who's resource maxing right now? Exactly, right? Um, you know what? I've convinced myself. We need to fix, because this computed doesn't make sense, right? So in the person service, um, probably just going to be faster to find it over here. Oh, did I just call it Merc service? It's in the swappy service. So people resource inside of get person. This is where we want to clean this up, right? Um, we don't want a person. Oh, actually, we're fine. Here, we're fine. Um, so here, we can just pipe this. Um, and inside of our pipe, we can pull in a map. Let's go ahead and grab map. Come on. There we go. And this is going to be our response. Yeah, that actually works just fine. So what we've done is we've taken we can get back a person array or a person, right? Because ID might be empty. What we've said is that, hey, if we get back an array, because this is get person, right? Um, is it first value from? That returns a promise of a person. Is that's fine. That's good enough. Right. So here, now we can just say, we can just return value or empty person. And there we go. So now what we can do is we can just say, hey, we want our current merc here, and grab their name. Um, I'm really tempted to add, and it would be muddying the waters just a little bit, to do this, but um, like a signal state would give me a deep signal on empty person. But for right now, this will be good enough. So now if we go take a look, hey, we've got Luke Skywalker, right? Um, perfect. Um, is it always Luke Skywalker? No. So it's going to be randomizing stuff too. Um, I don't like the spacing that we've got here. So let's take a look at this and see where our spacing is coming from. So like this 4 pixel border is fine. But this, it's my H2. Um, right. So my H2 has a bunch of margin on it. If I take this off, I've got margin here and here. See, like I would much rather see this than what we're seeing. So this is much better. So we need to remove the margin. And I think we can do this with a class. And I think we can just do a margin 0 on this. And that should remove all of the extra padding. Yeah. Right. Because now we can see with margin 0, it has a 0 pixel margin on it. And that's fine. I'm properly spaced and I'm where I want to be. One thing we can do is I want to pull this stuff. Um, like I want the P4 and I want the rounded T-MD on it. Well, the P4 is already there. It's just the rounded T-MD. We'll grab that. And then with our app components, and we're gonna leave the border secondary on it for when we fix our borders and stuff. So we don't need those. We don't need those. So we've now got our person in there, and they're showing up. So the next pieces of information we can grab, if we take a look at our person model, we can provide height, mass, hair. We can provide a lot of this stuff. Um, we'll provide this information underneath the name. Um, and then we'll take a look at some other stuff, right? So we want this information underneath the name. So here we've got our H2. And you know what? We're gonna do a flex column here. Because here we're going to add a div. And we're going to go class equals grid. There we go. And we'll do some stuff with our grid, right? So here we can have div, and we're going to paste in a bunch of stuff here. So I forget the command. Alt-Shift-I, that would be a good one. Yeah. So we can just highlight these lines. We can go with Alt-Shift-I. And that's going to add our cursor to the end. And now we can go with a Shift Home, a copy. Now we should be able to paste that. Oops, not do that yet. We want current merc dot and then paste, right? And then we can go home. We can add a div here. And we can go to the end and we can add a slash div here. So there we go. So that works. What I would like to do is here. Let's add a strong tag to this also. So let's see what this looks like, right? Um, now with this, oh, oh, awesome. Yeah. We need to, there we go. There we go. This should look better. So there we go. So now, we've got a height. This looks like in centimeters. Um, Mass is probably kilos. Um, so, and Homeworld is a link. So we're going to take this one out. Um, but we want this to be text small. Yeah, a gap of 2. Um, we can do the same here. We can also add our gap here of 2, gap 2. And I need to go look up the grid stuff just to see how to do it because um, we want to make this stuff um, so we're going to go with centimeters there. We're going to go with kilos there. Um, Actually, I think there's a way to convert the case. Yeah. Uh, Idle case. There we go. And I think we can even do, oh, um, this one's just going to be faster to just do it ourselves. Um, but one thing I want to take a look at, so that actually looks a lot better. And if we go take a look at Tailwind, and I want to take a look at Grid. Um, there's the Flex. So, um, see, I don't want this min max here. Like, I'd like to use the grid template columns, but I don't want the min max because I don't want my columns to change size. I want them to be all the same size. It's like if I do grid calls 2 here, right? If I do grid dash calls dash 2, one side has the potential to be bigger than the other. If we inspect this grid, turn on our grid stuff here. No, they look fine. Never mind. I'm worried about something that doesn't matter. What if I take off the gap on my grid? That's not bad. I like this stuff indented, so we'll add a margin to the left of it. I also like text small. Text dash small not do anything? Oh, here it is. Text small. It does. Maybe extra small is the way to go. Let's take off my gap here. Let's go extra small here. The other thing I want to do is let's grab, actually we can just grab this, right? And we can delete this and we can go with a div here and then another div here. And now we can go with the call for. So let's see, I would like these contents to be min. Whoops. Class equals, I think I can do min content. Because I want these min content and I want them right aligned. So that we shrink down and these become right aligned. Oh, that's why everything's so big. I've got it so that you guys can see it, so it's so much bigger. That's I was like, man, these fonts are still huge. That's the problem. We're really, really big. Like, oh yeah, we're blown up way out of proportion. But I do want these right aligned and I want this smaller. So let's take a look at grid columns. They've got some flowing here. Oh, I remember now. Yeah, okay. So if we go take a look, we can add kind of this notation here where we can say min dash content comma 1 fr comma min dash content comma 1 fr. And that should, there we go. And that's not good. So maybe we go min max and min max here. And min dash content, max dash content. I don't think I can add spaces. Yeah, that works. And so if we look at the setting here on this div, you'll see that it's set it up this way. But we can use a CSS variable for this. It'll be better. So let's do that instead because that's really ugly. And if we take a look at Daisy UI, right, we can just put parentheses around it and use our CSS variable. So here we can add our styles back in. And we want to add just our this variable. We're going to call it our we'll call it our Merc description. And we're going to paste this in, and this is going to become, this will be our Merc description columns, right? So it's min max, it's 1 fraction, min max, 1 fraction. Semicolon. Now I should be able to, on my grid calls, should be able to just do, now use my Merc dash description dash columns. Merc description columns. And the other thing it doesn't like is these commas, right? These should just be spaces. So if we take these out, there we go. And what's it complaining about here? Unexpected column. This, I think, is an issue with inline CSS. That's my bet. Let's just validate that first. Um, there we go. It has to know where to put it. So we're gonna put it in the host CSS. Um, I can't just drop a CSS property. That should fix it. There's my Merc description columns. What did I do wrong here? This says I should be able to do grid columns dash dash my grid calls. We can see that this is set up. Um, if we do grid dash template dash columns, here we do var dash dash merc description columns. We should see that, yeah, we are getting what we expected. And gap of 2 pixels. I'm gonna go 0. and then 2 pixels. Pixels and 6 pixels, that works fine. So my grid template columns are working, but they aren't being interpreted. Like as soon as I take that out, the question is why? Because if I do this and I do this, and we give it a fallback of repeat for 1FR. We can see it's here. What if I try refreshing? No. So it must not know what that that CSS variable is. What if instead of on host, we throw this on roots? Does that work? Or is it just that it's an inline style and it doesn't know how to process it? Go put this in the styles.css. And let's see what happens when I do that. Take out the repeat. Maybe my repeat is backwards. And it needs to reprocess that. So take out my repeat here. Oh, I don't have a close on my var. Is that my problem? I've got my grid, but it's not picking this up. And oh, I think that space is messing it up. No. It was my repeat. Um, so we're going to indent this. We're going to give it a margin of 2, a margin left of 2. We want it indented. And we're going to go gap dash 0, comma 6 pixels. That's what we had before. And that's not working. We do have the indent on this. Doesn't um, trying to figure out. Figure out what's going on with my gap. Why I can't specify that gap. Once I've got this, can I move this back from here? Let's put this back on here with styles. Does this still work? No. Okay. So that's one thing that we know. Well, let's try one other thing, right? Like style URL. Let's add that Merc choice component.css to our here. If we go new file merc.choice merc dash choice dot component dot css, boom, and we paste this in here. Does it work now? No. So it definitely has to exist in a top level style sheet um, to um, work with Tailwind, which makes sense with the preprocessor and stuff. So we'll go ahead and add this back to our styles. So there we go. And I'm sure there's a way to do it, but for right now, that's fine. Let's go figure out our gap, right? Like with the gap, you can do gap number, gap value. Um, so That's how you do it, huh? You do a gap X and a gap Y. So here, um, in our div, you just do a gap dash X dash 6 pixels. And there we go. That's fine. Um, and then here for all of these, class equals text dash right. I think that's the right align class. We'll see. Yep. So there we go. Spent a bunch of time on this. We can probably go. We can probably go with 6 of these. We went with 3, 3. What I'm trying to do is we've got this one hanging out here on the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ugh. We'll take out the birth year. The birth year doesn't really mean a whole lot to people. Uh, yeah. Like if I was setting this up, um, like the before Battle of Yavin, um, is what BBY means. So he was born almost 42 years before the Battle of Yavin. Um, like age would matter. Um, like the skin color, hair color, and eye color are less important. But if they're less important. Let's take out skin color. Um, yeah, we'll take out the skin color. Yeah, yeah, we'll do that. Like I'm trying to come at this from the perspective of um, of a client, right? And if I was hiring somebody, um, the description is important, and maybe I make these the description. I don't know. Like it's less about me picking based on those factors and more about me recognizing who I hired, right? But that could be done with a picture, which we don't have. So instead, we'll just take out the skin color. That'll give us 3 rows, and that'll solve my problem. And it's probably potentially the most contentious version, like thing we've got there, right? Um, is that skin color. So now that we've got that, now it all kind of lines up nicely. I think I want a bigger margin on the left. Um, let's make that margin left, like let's double it a little. Yeah, double it's probably good. Um, yeah. So there we go. So now we've got, information. Um, what we don't have is a price. right? We don't know what this person costs. Um, which, let's be honest, if we're hiring mercenaries, the thing that matters to me the most is the price that I'm paying for this person. Um, right? Like if it's a good deal or not. Um, so we need to come up with a way to calculate the price and then potentially come up with a way to um, provide like a discount on that person. Um, and this again goes into our resource, right? So here we want this gives us back a person. We're just going to add this, right? We're going to say cost in credits, and this won't be a string, this will be a number. We're going to require this because I don't want to deal with so an empty person is um, and let's rename this. I don't want, yeah, higher in credits, right? So the price to hire them in credits. Um, so we want a way to calculate this. We're going to be super simple for right now. Um, let's add another div here. And we class equals flex. And we're going to add two buttons. Um, so we're going to have a button. Why can't I accept this? No, that's fine. Um, and we're not going to do this. We're going to do button. We're going to do red dash 500. Um, and we're going to do text dash inverse. I think that's the right one. And that will, and we're going to call this skip merc. So let's make sure that this one works. There we go. It's a bad experience because our loading experience is bad, right? Inspect this button. My colors are wrong, and it's been so long since I've done Tailwind that take a look at colors, right? So red 500, maybe we want a red 800, but oh yeah, it's not button, it's BG dash. So we could do BG dash red dash 500. And we'll go with like 800. Um, and then the other color we want is the inverse color. Transparent black, white, red. No, we want definitely like there should be um maybe it's the bottom. I always forced color interactivity. So there's like an accent color. Either order red. Rose. Oh, where is the background image? It's like styling with utility classes. This is the one I think I'm looking for. No. Colors. Is this the one? No. Theme variables. Maybe this is the one I'm looking for. Color. Like there's primary. Where was that? Oh, it's in Daisy. Daisy is where I'm looking for. Colors. There we go. This is what I was looking for. Secondary accent, neutral, neutral dash contents. The error dash content. Maybe I'll use error. BG error and BG success. Maybe that's the better way to go. So we can go BG error. And here we can go text error dash content. Right. And that should give us at least if I inspect this. Yeah, we're still getting the alpha value problem. The problem is the hover is going to give us issues too. So we'll have to figure that out, but at least we know that's working. And here, we can go with full. And we can add another button. And this one's going to be BG success. This will be text success content and width full. And this will be higher for yeah. Wait, where's my other button? Oh, we're gonna do a gap of 4. And we aren't gonna do width full here. We'll do width 100. That should be 100% of the width that they're allowed to take. And if I do width 100%, that is a width full. Um, Also, why is my higher for credits is not working? Um, the reason I have to do here a div. And these can be width full now. Width full. And this should Oh, I need flex grow on this also, I believe. Flex dash grow. Is that not it? What is my This is me struggling with Tailwind again. So flex grow. I'll just grow. I don't need the div here. I also don't need width full. I can just say, hey, you can grow. And you can grow. And they should build the same area now. There we go. Is that the same size? No, it's not. But it's, you know what? At this point, we're good enough. I'm gonna leave it. Um, if I was building this for if I was building this for like to release to a client, we would clean up a lot of this stuff. Um, but for right now, it's good enough. I'm curious about why my hire for credits isn't working. I know why it's not working. Um, we need to go into our resource. Um, we need to map this again. And what we want to do is we're going to return person from this. But we're going to do person. And 1,000, that seems kind of, we're going to go for 100,000 or 1,000,000, right? Um, That's not bad. One thing we can do now that we've got our our price calculation set in, and it doesn't like the price calculation doesn't matter as much, but one thing we can definitely do is run this through the number pipe. Did it automatically import my number pipe? It's not gonna like this. Why does it recognize my number pipe? Let's fix that loading experience. It's kind of horrible. Like having things jump around like that is pretty terrible. Um, no, we need to stay focused. Stay focused. I right. Let's get the what do we want to call it? Let's get the MVP going for the workshop, and then we can worry about tweaks later. One thing that's really bothering me are these colors. And I know I've fixed this in the past, um, but I'm gonna have to look that one up. Um, but well, we're gonna come back. I've got to I've got to go get ready for the day. Um, my family's about ready to come home, and we're gonna go do some stuff today. We'll finish this up tomorrow. Yeah, MVP number one. And that's one of the things, where we've talked about like the swamp of perfection and stuff like that. Master Luminara, really. Um, that's probably what you would expect to pay for a member of the Jedi Council. Yeah, can't be a nerd till yeah, exactly. Right. The swamp of perfection. Getting stuck in that swamp um can really drag you down. Uh, but um tomorrow, I don't believe I have. Take a look at my quick. I've got to get this done. Maybe we'll just do like a surprise stream later today. Who knows? Oh yeah. Oh. My daughter has a dance competition tomorrow in the afternoon, but for the day I am wide open. So tomorrow we're going to finish this up. Um, we're going to figure out why my colors are so hideous, why they're not working. And I remember we had to do something for this also the last time I used Tailwind, and I don't remember what it was. But we'll get those figured out. The other thing we're going to do is when you hire somebody, there's going to be a piece over here that allows you to hire up to 4 people. We're going to have a resource drive that. Um, so we're going to have a resource, maybe call it like the team resource or whatever. When this emits, it's going to emit to that resource, and we're going to use, um, we'll figure out how we want to handle it. We'll have a service that that resource will interact with. Um, and then that resource will emit the stuff from that service, um, which I'm excited to work through, because I don't just want to create a resource that I don't want to create just a resource that you can that just links to like a website, right? Because we could have done that very easily with the HTTP resource when 19.2 releases. So I want to show that resources are not just for they're not just for like HTTP interactions. We're going to create a resource that will be a team, and you'll have the ability to interact with that resource by adding and removing stuff from it. Um, and so I want to figure out how we can do that with a resource, right? So this resource will just be the mercenary that's for hire, and then over here we'll have a whole other resource that's a team resource, and then the two they don't really interact other than the fact that this will push stuff to the resource that's used over here, um, and um, we're going to use that resource to kind of manage our state, which I think will be interesting. Um, so that's what I'm looking forward to. Um, yeah. Yep. I'm sitting here going, man, I really want to do this right now, but I've got to get ready for when my family gets home. So thank you guys for joining me today. It was a lot of fun. And they're working through styling often takes a little bit of time. It's one of the things that slows me down quite often the most, um, and um, for good reason, right? Like you want a good user experience. Our experience is pretty good because of Daisy. I'll admit that right off the bat. Um, a lot of these interactions would take a lot more work or a different library, probably material or something like that too, right? But Daisy is driving our user experience. And so we'll have our other piece here, and that should be good for us. Um, but thank you guys. Looking forward to finishing this up tomorrow, and then on Tuesday, um, I won't be streaming Tuesday because we'll be doing this workshop on Tuesday. But Tuesday during the day, I think I may work on the slides for this workshop, right? Um, and then we'll be ready for the let's go take a look, right? So if you guys, I used to be one of the organizers of the meetup. Um, if you guys is not gonna let me paste that, really? Oh, there it goes. It just took a while. Never mind. So I used to be a member of an organizer of this. Still a member. Um, but this is my workshop. Holy cow, 155 people have signed up. Wow. Um, if you guys want to attend, go sign up. Just hit the attend button and um, you'll be able to attend. It's 6 p.m. Mountain Time. I live in, Mountain Time Zone. If you guys, that's why I post everything in Mountain. Um, So whatever that winds up being for you, I know for people in like India and Asia and Europe, that winds up being very, very early in the morning. If you guys can't make it, I know that they record these. So definitely, make sure, that it will be recorded, and I'll make sure to put it out there once it's recorded, or once it's available. And I know there's like a website, and I forget what the website is, um, but I'm sure it's it's in here as part of the meetup. But the Angular community meetup's a great group of people. Have a lot of respect for everybody on this team. I really enjoyed working with them. This is what we're building the workshop for, and this is what we're doing with our resources. So yeah, looking forward to it. Um, you guys have a great rest of your weekend. For some of you, your weekend's already over. For some of you, it's getting close to being over. But have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you tomorrow. We've got to finish this up tomorrow.